News remaining silent so far, despite three of its most prominent hosts being called out by name by the January 6th committee. Why? Newly revealed text messages to former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in the very midst of the violence of the Capitol insurrection. Among them, Brian Kilmeade saying, "Please get him, Trump, on TV, destroying everything you have accomplished."
And this one from Sean Hannity. Can he make a statement? Ask people to leave the Capitol. Joining us now, CNN senior political analyst and anchor John Avalon and Brian Stelter, CNN's chief media correspondent. Just to remind people, so these are the panicked text messages that were apparently happening in private. Just a reminder of what was happening publicly, what the public statements were on Fox and have been. Just take a look.
The uniforms that you saw in some of these crowd shots, have you ever seen them wearing, as Chris said, those knee pads and all the pads on their elbows? I've been to a lot of these rallies. I know you both have covered them. I've never seen that before, ever.
Everyone knew going in today that this crowd was going to be massive. They knew there were hundreds of thousands of people that came to town. We also knew that there's always bad actors that will infiltrate large crowds.
Brian, look, I know you've been following this for a long time, been following this evolution. You wrote about it in some respects in your book. But these messages, they reveal two things. Not only what's happening in private, right, behind the scenes, versus, I guess, what makes for better TV, sells more, but they also reveal just how chummy, right, these hosts were with the former president and his administration.
Right, and not just trying to communicate to the president through the TV. We knew they did that for 4 years, but also behind the scenes in private. And yet, they are texting Meadows. They're not getting replies. They're not getting what they're calling for. President Donald Trump is sitting watching TV, enjoying the sights. Even Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham couldn't stop him from letting the riot go on. So in some ways, it shows the power of Fox and the feebleness of these stars at the same time. And then by the end of the day, they're already pushing false flag narratives. They're already pushing riot denialism within the same day. This is deeply revealing and deeply damning for Fox News. Now, here's what's important to know, though. Their viewers are not hearing about it. This is not being covered on Fox. It's not being acknowledged by Hannity. It's not being acknowledged by Ingram. I haven't even heard back from Fox's PR people when we've asked for comments about this. So this is embarrassing, and yet they're going to try to pretend none of this has been revealed.
To Erica's point about chumminess here, I mean, it is remarkable. Laura Ingram's text, "This is hurting all of us," right? In effect, putting Fox in the same bucket with the White House. He is destroying his legacy. Brian Kilmeade, destroying everything you have accomplished. It's like they're on the same team, right? John Avalon, have we had that kind of relationship between an administration so directly with very prominent members of a network? I mean, it's almost indistinguishable.
Not even a little bit. And I think this goes well beyond chumminess. I mean, this is Fox News functioning as basically as an adjunct of the Trump administration. And when Laura Ingraham tweets, this text that this is bad for all of us, she's not talking about all of us as in the American people, our country, our democracy. She's talking about it's bad for us in the Trump water carriers and right-wing talk TV. It's bad for us on Team Trump. That's how deep, they've been used to functioning as advisors to the administration, which itself is unprecedented. But she's saying that Trump's refusal to denounce this is going to hurt all of us. And then hours later, as Brian says, they default to lies. Hours later, they start whitewashing and peddling a fiction, lying to their viewers that this was some kind of false flag operation, when in real time they knew the truth. This was being done by Trump supporters, and only Trump could stop it in their eyes.
Right, and look, then there's plenty of lying by omission, right? There's been a full-on omission since this first came out last night. What we don't know are those unnamed lawmakers. We don't yet know who they are, Brian. I'm curious just your thoughts on, once those names come out, because they will, do you think that will prompt any coverage?
That's interesting. Wait, is this going to become kind of a situation where every man for himself, every woman for themselves, where they all, but I'd be surprised by that, because there has been such a strong denialism streak for the past year. Like I said, it started the night of January 6th. It has continued ever since. It's actually become more intense in the past couple of months. This attempt to deny the reality of the riot, these hearings are not covered live on right-wing TV. They don't have reporters down at the courthouse the way CNN does, keeping track of the prosecutions. They don't have reporters keeping track like ABC and the New York Times. They are pretending like it didn't happen. And here's what I wonder: can this committee shake, the Fox base out of those fictions? Is that possible, or is the country just too far split, and the Fox base will never hear the truth? I think we might be at the point where it's the latter.
Yeah, I mean, listen, remember, no one, John Avlon, went to Trump's departure, right? Or no one wanted to show up there, right? Now, folks are flocking to Mar-a-Lago. They need his endorsement. Is the sad fact that for a portion of this country, that January 6th has been rewritten already, Soviet style.
Well, Fox has been engaged in the Soviet-style rewriting of history around January 6th from almost the evening of the attack, despite their anchors knowing better, as we've seen. It's metastasized even further with these false flag narrative documentaries, which has prompted some of their anchors who still retain a shred of journalistic integrity to leave the network. So I think this is denial as a business strategy. But in the jump ball for our democracy, which is what we are talking about, the fact that the Republican Party has rallied around this disgraced ex-president, as more and more information comes out clearly showing that there was an attempted coup quarterbacked by the White House on his watch by his wishes, is a sign of incredible sickness in that political party. And anyone who goes along with it is absolutely complicit at this point. And there will only be, I gotta say, there's got to be legal accountability for it to break through this. This is not a narrative war at this point. There's got to be legal accountability to really change the trajectory.
And that we haven't seen, at least for the ringleaders, right? John Avlon, Brian Stelter, thanks so much.